Okay, so there's going to be two things to do in this chapter, and then we will basically be skipping forward to the different actual ending. We are pretty much out of true ending things to make, except for at the end of this conversation. But we are getting Rook's story instead of Keela's, and we will actually be getting Shock's story at the end of this hallway. So, we're going to do that. Hey there, David. I'm glad to see you up and about. Did ṟouᴉ give you one hell of a speech? I have to say, I was definitely skeptical, but it turns out he knows what he's doing. I knew Singe was acting a little odd lately, but I didn't know he was planning this. An international sting operation. Well, it's good to know that Max was caught, but I didn't know how involved Singe was. I mean, he was playing us all along. Was there ever going to be a tour? Or was the whole thing just a front? I worked for him and I didn't even know. I knew it was Max all along, you know. But she threatened all of your lives. I couldn't tell anyone else, so boom. ṟouᴉ's story got a little bizarre. No one else believed it but me. I got to see Max's power firsthand. I've never seen anybody move like that. A normal girl could never take me down. Plus, she knew things she just couldn't. I wouldn't believe it if I didn't see it. She could disappear as she saw fit. She jumped around like crazy. She had to have been spying on all of us. She preyed on our weaknesses. I've never seen anybody do that before. Wow, ṟouᴉ must have told them a lot. But it makes sense that the others wouldn't believe it. The assumption that someone can control time is crazy. Enough to simply laugh away unless you experienced it. And I heard what Max said on the speaker. Something about you saving the world. Or did she say worlds? I can't remember. I just know that this is above me. I'm not going to get involved. Max just picked me because of our bond. Whatever else would you... I'm losing my ability to speak English. Whatever else you have to do, I don't think it's any of my business. I'll just wait here until we can leave. That's probably for the best. I wonder how long we'd be here, though. Rook seems to be taking this all in stride. Well, you kind of saved my life. I'll believe anything you say after that. The previous evidence just helps support it. You've given me no reason to doubt you. If ṟouᴉ was lying, you tell me. But so far, both stories seem to line up. Anyway, I won't keep you any longer. I'm sure you need to make the rounds. Everyone should know that you're okay. But, although I have to ask you one thing. I heard ṟouᴉ say something interesting. Not that I was spying on you or anything. Sound travels down here, you know. I can even hear Shock talking from here. I can't. Nice save, though. That bit right there is the same. He said something that intrigued me. He mentioned bringing people back. Something about his dead sister. He's a very serious guy, isn't he? He wouldn't make something up like that. Is there really a way to bring people back? I don't need to know any specifics, but he'd hardly pull that out of thin air. It's true, ṟouᴉ was a very serious guy. I tell Rook that it seems like a possibility. A lot of things were still up in the air. But there were people I wanted to bring back too. So there's a chance that it's possible. It wasn't just hearing things then. Can you promise me something, David? Please, bring back Keela. Even if there's just a tiny chance. I can't live knowing that it was at his expense. I feel like I'm a monument to his death. I can't just walk around acting cool. It's eating away at me from the inside. You have to bring him back, David. He didn't deserve to die for no reason. We all deserve better than that, you know? And this is the last, I believe, I'm double checking really quick. Yes, this is the last true ending flag for the game. You tell him that you will bring him back. This was the same with Keela. They will both ask this same question. Of course I'd bring back Keela. It was one of the first things I'd do. But there were lots of unknown variables at play. But he has my word. If it's possible, I'll do it. Thank you so much. I know it seems really far-fetched. In fact, this whole situation does. But maybe that's why I believe it so easily. There's a chance for us to correct mistakes. Anybody would suspend belief for that. But if you can't bring him back, maybe I can do it, like last time. What did he mean by that? He rubs his arm nervously as he grips his tablet. It doesn't work here. There's no reception at all. She's useless as a brick. He waves his tablet around frantically. I can't even begin to imagine how he's feeling. He's addicted to that thing, but it won't really work. He'd have to be going through some sort of withdrawal. It makes me cringe just thinking about it. But it's true. Max was right all along. I waste too much time on this thing. I didn't think it was really harmful, but just look at what happened. I was clearly lying to myself. But who knows how long we'll be here, and I won't be able to use it like I want. So I have no idea what to feel right now. Everyone always tells me to stop. They say what's so important on there, but I'd never tell anyone. I hid it. Max was one of the first to find out, and look what she did because of it. Strapped me to a bomb, made my past bite me. But I realized the truth that day. A lot of things just suddenly became clear. Facing death can do that to you. They didn't ask because they wanted to know. They asked because they were concerned. What's more important than them? Why did I neglect them for my tablet? Max said you'd all think I was a freak. That just scared me even more. But I've realized something. I have to. This tablet doesn't just affect me. It affects everybody around me. It can hurt them more than it can hurt me. Murders and bombs are extreme, of course, but there are just physical ways to be hurt. I fear most of the damage was emotional. I started owning up to it, though. I made some real progress with Jade. Our bond got deeper, that's for sure. But that's the sad thing about this. I was missing out on all of that stuff. I could have experienced it years ago. If only I'd handled my grief a little better. I mean, look at Singe, barely affected. I wish I could be as calm as he always is. And Shock. Well, bad example, but you get it. I didn't handle mine like a rational guy. I start to wonder what he's talking about. He mentioned that he lost someone close to him. That was back on my first day in Tokyo. But how exactly does this relate to his tablet use? Well, that's the thing. I never really told anybody before. Max only knew because she was spying. But I have no reason to doubt you. You've kept quiet about the other night. I hate talking about my past that way. So I guess I can tell you a little bit. But let's not make a big deal out of this. I'm not pouring my heart out or anything. Let's call it Fun Facts with Rook. No judging, no laughing, just learning. It'll make me feel better that way. That sounds like something Rook would do. He has a way of dancing around important topics. But I guess nobody likes confronting their flaws. I'm still a little hesitant. But I need to prove Max wrong, you know? I really don't think I'm a freak. But there's only one way to find out. I have to start opening up to people. I have to start branching out. It'll be a useful thing to do. That is, if we ever get out of here. I shrug, but he definitely has a point. This might be a place to ponder new beginnings. We could think of ways to make our lives better. Well, I don't even know where to start, so let's go right to the beginning. When I was younger, I had a sort of mentor. I was born to be a businessman, he'd say. I held a gift when it came to that stuff. I was good at organizing and managing, but I wasn't that great with people. That was the one thing I needed to work on. He helped me break out of my shell, though. He taught me how to interact with people. I was never really good at social cues. He's reminding me more and more of my little brother.
No kidding.
But soon enough, I was socially adept. I don't think
Not
you were.
yet.
I don't mean to brag or anything, but I'm good at whatever I set out to do. At that point, I was good at everything. Business management and PR. Not to mention my knack for technology. I'm going to make a long story short here. I left America and came to Japan. It wasn't too hard to learn the language. That's how I ended up at that cafe chat. One of the most popular cafes here. Oh, ended up at Cafe Chat. I became a famous host.
Cafe cat. Ah.
What?
Chat is French for cat.
Oh, that's funny. I became a famous host, known all around. Akihabara had everything I wanted. People, technology, and opportunity. I used my skills to find happiness. But to be honest, I was a little lonely. My mentor refused to leave America behind. We could only talk to each other online. I'd never meet him face to face again. To me, he'd... Shit!
Just live on my tablet.
Okay, there we go. But it was better than nothing, right? I had popularity. I ran a maid cafe. He was more proud of me than anything. He really considered me one of his sons. I accomplished everything he dreamed of. There's no better feeling than that. But for a time, everything was perfect. But we all know what that means, right? Tragedy is always sneaking up on us. It was a freak accident that took his life. Something went wrong at an investor meeting. It took a while before the news hit me. He lost his life at an investors meeting. Could that be related to what Acheron told me? I started to think he was ignoring me, because to me he just stopped responding. But I was shocked when the truth found me. I'm not proud of what happened next. My ability to perform at the cafe suffered. Eventually I didn't even want to go. But how could it go on without me? The truth is it couldn't. But for some reason I didn't care. I hid in my house and shut out the world. That's when my tablet use started. I knew a lot about technology. I was a genius when it came to that stuff. So I put together all of my skills and... He grips his tablet even tighter, sniffling softly. I thought that I could bring him back. I don't mean for real, of course, but chatting online wasn't real either. I dedicated my time to making a program. Something to keep me company, you know? Something that would let him live on. I didn't leave the house for months. I ordered all of my food online. That was more important to me than anything. This was more important to me than anything. It's kind of ironic, isn't it? He helped me break out of my shell, and then he put me right back in it. It was such a simple program at first. It would understand small phrases, and it could give automated responses, but that's all I really needed. It wasn't much different from before, and this time he'd never stop responding. Gosh, I sound insane right now. That was probably really fucking loud. Gosh, I must sound insane right now. As we talked, he learned more and more, but like before, he taught me too. All the information took up tons of data, so I had to store him on the cloud. I'm guessing that's why it doesn't work now. But there you have it. Feel free to judge. I wanted my friend back. It's pathetic. But there's one thing you just can't deny. He helped me, like he did before. We kept talking, and I got stronger. Eventually, I could leave the house again. But by then, Cafe Chat was screwed. It seemed like they were about to close, so I really only had one choice. I sought employment immediately. That's when Singe hired me to work for him. A smart lackey, I was just what he needed. The salary was good, but not good enough. It would take years to save Cafe Chat, so I begged him for a lump sum payment. I might have pulled some strings, threatened him a little, but he really did need all of my skills. Eventually he caved and gave me a check. I cashed it and instantly wrote a new one. I gave it to Cafe Chat the very same day. I saved the business from bankruptcy, but it's the least I could have done. I put them there in the first place. And that's it, really. We're here today, talking. I've come to terms with my mistakes. I'd still talk to him all the time. He'd give me advice on what to say or do, but now I think I need to do that myself. I need to face my problems head on. I can't just hide in my own fantasy. So that's what I'll do if we get out. That and maybe get serious with Jade. I need to make up for lost time, There's so much that we've missed out on.
Daw.
Daw. He gives me a soft smile before turning away. This is where it gets awkward, right? There's a silence. You're speechless. Don't worry, I'll save you the trouble. But if I could ask you for one more favor, let's try to bring him back for real. That is, if the power exists. There's so much more I need to tell him. So much more for him to be proud about. And I'll work with you to make it happen. He walks away without another word. Well, I guess that solved the mystery of his tablet. I'm unsure what to make of the story. It's quite deep. It wasn't the best thing for him to do, of course, but all things considered, it ended up quite well. Cafe Chat was back in business, and he got a new job. He was able to break out of that shell once again. I remember all the time that I spent with him. I recall every moment he typed away on his tablet. All of those situations were given a new meaning. I'd likely never look at him the same way again. But this was just the beginning. I had to let everyone else know I was okay. With that, I walked further down the tunnel. My mind wanders who I might run into next. So, we're going to end up talking to Inumi again, which I'm going to skip because we did that before. We got snubbed by Shock the first time. This time it should let us talk to him.
Yeah,
so
no,
we'll pick
Shock.
back up with Shock. Never mind. I said we were going to pick right back up, but it's been about 5 seconds. He's chucking Popstar, looks fatigued. Hello, Shock. Hey, David. It's good to see you up and about. Did Ashron have a talk with you? I nod and tell him it's nice to see him too. What a bunch of nonsense, eh? And here I thought he was becoming credible. I've never heard such a far-fetched story. You can't possibly believe that, right? I mean, we all handle crisis differently, but to validate it with fairy tales? His problems go deeper than I thought. And he's holding us in here because of it? If that's the case, we're not getting out. Whatever it is he's waiting for, it's not going to happen. We need to escape before we starve. It made sense from his point of view, but he hadn't seen the things we've seen. He hadn't directly witnessed the Ark or Max's power. To him, Ashron really was making stuff up. But I better not tell Shock that I believe him. If he knew I sided with Ashron, he'd be angry. And that was something he was really good at. I decided to change the subject to avoid any drama. Perhaps he could tell me a little about himself. Ever since we met, he's been caught up in the moment. A little relaxation and breathing room would help him. If anything, it would help the time go by faster. Yay, our bond with Shock was strong enough. Well, I've been thinking about Clace a lot. I'm sure you heard we go way back. I'm just reliving those old memories. It makes me all nostalgic for Canada. But as much as I want to go back, I can't. That's the thing with nostalgia, it's fake. It's like looking at a shattered mirror. The pieces on their own look promising, but if you put them together, you'll see the full picture isn't what you want at all. You glorify the past with specific memories. Sometimes the bad is completely ignored. If I went back, I'd regret it. I mean, sure, I had lots of fun, but there's lots of hurt, too. I remember when I first met Clace. It was way back in elementary school. For some reason, he'd follow me around. I have to say, it was really annoying. Some random kid stalking you. I'd just tune him out and ignore him. They go as far back as elementary school. For some reason, I didn't think it went that far back. Anyway, my dad thought we were friends, so he got in touch with Clace's parents. Next thing I knew, we were hanging out. I thought my dad should have asked me first. Now I was forced to acknowledge him. This wasn't a school setting anymore. I didn't have any friends, I was clueless, so I decided to ask him why he followed me. I thought it was a reasonable question. Apparently he knew my family was military, or should I say my dad was. My mom was long since out of the picture. But he said everyone else knew too, and that explained why I had no friends. He told me they were all afraid of me. I don't know why, but they were. And he told me it was for the best. He said that all of the kids bullied him. Unless he was with me, of course, since the other kids were scared. They wouldn't mess with him if I was there. This will sound weird, so just play along, but I always felt like I didn't measure up. My dad fought in wars, and I was just a kid. It kind of made me feel important. I mean, having someone count on me. So I made sure the other kids stayed away. We became best friends after that, all the way up until high school. But who doesn't drift apart then? My dad's military days came to an end. At that point, he was a private contractor. He got a job, and we had to move. I remember Clace taking it badly, but he had other things to focus on. He was starting to become recognized. Talent shows, contests, you name it. His career was sure to blossom soon. It's too bad I'd be gone when it happened. Perhaps me leaving was a good thing. He'd be able to focus on his future, better than us distracting each other. It took a while, but I never got over it. But I got over it. It took a while, but I got over it. We tried to stay in touch, but failed. You know how that stuff can be. So I started to focus on my own career. It turns out I was great at soccer. Enough to get a full academic scholarship. I could go to any school I wanted, so I aligned it with my dad's work. That's how I ended up in America. But something went wrong with his employer, some crisis at an investor meeting. I never saw my father again. Another mention of an investor meeting. Could his father have worked for Armstrong? I wasn't in the mood to continue school. I dropped out. Took a bit of a dark turn. My promising soccer career died with him. I wanted to join the military, maybe to follow in his footsteps, but they wouldn't let me do it. They said I was mentally unfit. It hurt, but I get what they meant. There was a chance that I was being reckless. So I kind of just went underground. That part of my life is a blur. There was one thing I remember. Fighting. That's what I wanted, though. That's why I applied for the military. I had to find an outlet somewhere. When they turned me down, I went elsewhere. The term fight club is totally cliche, but there's lots of martial arts rings. Not all of them played by the rules, but that's kind of what I wanted. It was a good way to sate my aggression. That's definitely a colorful background. He lost his best friend and his father. He must have been an emotional basket case. As odd as fighting was, it's good that he found relief. He must be somewhat out of shape, though. If I'm not mistaken, Ashron disarmed him quite fast. Or perhaps Ashron is just stronger than we think. Yeah, but nobody likes rule breakers. That's how you get the law involved. Trust me, they got involved. I was given a bit of an ultimatum. Stop the fighting or go to jail. Obviously, I chose to stop. But they still checked in on me. It was hard for me to stay anonymous. I had to show them I was done for good. So I decided to give them what they wanted. I picked up a guitar and started playing. The least violent thing I could think of. And what do you know? I was good at it. I didn't even have to practice. No one believed me, but I was a natural. So I started to play at open mic nights. Then the police left me alone. I guess they believed my little act. It's not like I like playing the guitar, I just do it when the circumstances need it. I actually started to get noticed. Clace was getting famous by then too. To be honest, I had no idea. My priorities were always elsewhere. I remember seeing him do an interview. It was on TV in one of the bars. I thought he looked so stuck up. A far cry from the guy I used to know. Fame can change people, I thought. I hoped it would never happen to me. But then I saw him right there in the bar. He smiled at me and told me how good I was. He actually came to watch one of my shows. Usually it's the other way around. You go to a show and hope to get noticed. You never hear stories like mine. We shared some drinks and got to talking. Turns out I was horribly wrong. He was still the same guy I knew. That's when he asked me to play for him. He was about to start touring. Him and his manager were seeking talent. I agreed without a single thought, and I can tell you now it was a mistake. I was driven by my nostalgia. Back when we were best friends. Back when my father was alive. I wanted to feel that way again. Another situation for me to play the guitar, and a chance to relive those glory days. That was the recipe for this disaster. Touring with him and reconnecting, it was like rebuilding that broken mirror. We got the good, then we got the bad. More death, more destruction. It became one huge nightmare. I wish I never agreed to join him. Maybe then they'd all be alive. Tragedy stalks me, you know. First my dad, now everybody else. And I couldn't even protect him this time. It wasn't like when we were back at school. You can't relive the past. I was naive. He slams his fist against the wall. It looks painful, but he doesn't even flinch. He seems to think that he's responsible for all of this. That's why I decided to keep people away. I won't get close to anybody again. My true glory days, they were underground. I didn't make connections. I was solo. There was no one around me to get hurt. I think that's the best environment for me. So when we get out, that's what I'll do. I'll go back to how things were before, back when I only looked out for myself. He turns away from me like he's done talking. But wouldn't that be repeating his mistake? Going back underground would be chasing the past. If he knew what he was doing, he'd push forward. Heh, you're good, you know that? I didn't see it that way. Food for thought, at least. Last time we talked, he mentioned philanthropic work. That would be a much better idea than peddling back. A relapse would only hurt everybody involved, and Clace would never agree to let him do that. Yeah, you're right. He looks back at me with tear-filled eyes. He'd just follow me like he used to. He walks away, his head held high, almost as if he's trying to mask his crying. But from what he's told me, he has to move on. He's caught up in some weird superstition. There's no way he was responsible for this. It was just an easy way to enact self-pity. He had to move on and realize it wasn't his fault. His losses have been extreme, but he still had himself. As long as he didn't lose his path, he'd be okay. I hope he stuck to the philanthropy idea. Walk in the opposite direction, venturing deeper. After a few moments, I turned down a long corridor, and it was Inumi. Okay, so Inumi's next. That's it for this. The entire section with the ballroom, and then the section with, well, I wouldn't pick Sam anyway, because I don't like Sam as a character. Not really, anyway. It doesn't matter as far as the end is concerned. So I'm going to skip that entirely, go straight to the throne room, and we are going to meet back up with you guys as the true ending is happening. So I will see you then. Alrighty, here it is. So when we played originally, this is all we had, because we had not earned enough flags to get the true ending. By the way, I have found out after following the guide to make sure I could get this far, you do not have to have all of the flags. You need to have at least 10. 10 or more, and you will get the true ending. It's not that certain events have to happen, it's that enough certain events have to happen. So it's a little easier on you than, hey, do all the things right. So, here we go. This is going to be an entirely different ending, supposedly. Restore the worlds and open the connections instead of closing them off. I could feel the power within me. I can do this. I'd unleash every life, every world within these blades, and I'd use the power within me to connect them. A shared universe, just like Velasquez had wanted. I nod at them, and they plead for a better reality. The gears spin, and everything fades to white. I close my eyes, embracing what's to come. I think that was the same. Ish, at least.
The wording was different.
The wording at the end of the first part, I think. I knew that my journey had finally come to an end, and I also knew that I'd never open my eyes again. But when they did, they'd see the future I created. A future built on the foundation of loss and suffering. That was the same.
Mm-hmm.
But a future that would never experience it again, for I was able to return those who perished. By my hands, all of this suffering would be undone, and the galactic community could unite and prosper. Surprise, everything's fucked. Alright, so the epilogue should be completely different. Because Fidget should be alive. Keela and Eddie should be alive. Rocker should be alive. With the rewriting of history, Terra was different. Rather than being isolated, it was part of a community. Reality planes no longer existed, and everyone was free. But this brought with it a host of new dangers as well. If you want to travel to the fringe worlds... I'm sorry, I think I may have misheard. You know how dangerous they are, Endymion? Oh shit, that's right, they're all alive.
Yep.
Of course I do, Velasquez. But threats must be taken seriously. We've been tipped off a potential attack. I can't just stand by and watch this. It could injure galactic stability. Surely I can request a short leave. Nobody remembered what Terra was like before the change. Nami and Nagi were wiped from the annals of history. But so too would the child of Exodus be forgotten. For death and suspension meant losing more than life. Velasquez assembled a small task force he could rely on. They'd help protect Terra's standing in the galaxy. But so much had changed, and things were different. People who were once close might not even meet. And what does your protege think? I can't force him into this situation. We need their input as well, Endymion. Of course. Endymion turns to the side and calls for his partner. His input was just as valuable to the king. Really? Endymion is correct, my lord. This threat is not like the others. It's not just Terra that could be affected. I would humbly request a leave as well. I'm in no position to order you around, but know that we could just save many lives. So where the fuck is Conrad? He was my...
They might not have met.
He was my Terra husbando. What the fuck? Velasquez strokes his chin in deep thought. I could easily send our ambassadors. Would diplomacy not avert this crisis? I'm afraid not, and nobody could know that we left. It would be off the books. Secret. Subterfuge, some would say. Ruling Terra required more care than ever before. One decision could send ripples across the galaxy, and Velasquez's decisions were always under scrutiny. Every world was watching each other. No one was alone. Well, that would kind of keep you at a standstill, I think. Are you sure you could keep this a secret? I would hate for our world to suffer. Our reputation is special to me, righty. I'm confident in our ability. Very well, I trust you. Tell me more about this threat. I'd like to know the scope of it all. Shit's fucked, yo. So does Conrad just work in the... Okay. Velasquez and his task force focused on galactic issues. His ambassadors, however, handled things much smaller. They represented Terra in the Galactic Senate. Issues such as trade and immigration were their concern. They want to send us more refugees. Have we not already taken all we can? I don't know if I agree with this choice.
But the people of Albia Prime need help. The crisis is our opportunity, Dusk. This is where we can afford to barter.
The fuck are you bartering? What do we need from them? Besides, won't we come off as greedy?
Of course not. It's our decision. We'd be far from the first world to do it, and their local export sells for a lot.
Do you think a tithe would be acceptable?
That's exactly what I was going for. Open doors to Albia Prime for a price. We sell their goods and our economy booms. We can't just offer our shelter for free. People would take advantage of us. Velasquez can have the final say.
Very well, but you can't be forgetting. Our trip to the Senate is approaching. We need to handle this in a swift manner.
Yeah, I heard you the first time. I'm packing all of my stuff next week. I hope they like our ideas this time.
Where is Conrad? You fucks. Every year, the Galactic Senate would gather together. They'd share ideas and vote for the betterment of all. Meeting on the core worlds, they held deliberations. But it wasn't just the larger things that needed ruling. Every town on Terra had an elected governor. They were given enough power to rule on their own. This was so Velasquez and his team could relax. Managing their galactic standing was more than enough. A motion to decrease the price of produce? I wasn't aware we were overcharging. What do you think we should do? Was I voicing him? I voiced him kinda like Keela.
Yeah.
It might be expensive. It might not be expensive to you, Father. But not everybody has the same standards. There are people who struggle on Terra. I would lower it, but not by too much. Why is he still wearing rags? This is some
idea.
This is some bullshit. We don't want to sell ourselves short. We should use the other towns as a guide? Or should we use the other towns as a guide? That's a great idea, my son. Would you be willing to take that trip? We'd be able to price more competitively. I'd love to do that, actually. I'd get to visit Kalen in his home. I haven't seen him in a very long time. Very well, then it's decided. But there's no need to leave just yet. We have quite a few motions to look over. So player hasn't run off, Kabu's not dead. Many were pushed apart in unexpected ways, but thanks to change, many were also brought together. However, they'd never know that things had changed. To them, their lives had always been this peaceful.
Wait, let me get this straight, Trish. King Velasquez offered you a job? Yeah, I was just as shocked as you are. I mean, can you even believe this is true? Well, no. But probably for different reasons. Are you going to accept his offer? Of course! This is the best thing that's ever happened. I'll definitely get to perfect my art.
Uh-huh.
And I'll make sure to advise your tavern.
Right.
Oh, there's no need for that. Don't want you breaking any rules. We can handle things on our own. I guess you're right. I did put up a now hiring sign, though. Figured you'd need some extra help.
Aha!
Thanks, that was really nice of you. I appreciate everything you've done for us.
Just then, someone knocked on the tavern door.
If you'll excuse me, Trish.
He leaves the conversation and answers the door. A friendship that lasted a lifetime would form that day. Ha-ha!
Welcome to the Wayfarer's Tavern, sir. What can I do for you on this fine day?
Oh, hey there. I saw a job posting outside, actually. I was wondering if it's still available. Because he never joined the Assassins, there was never a need to.
Mm-hmm.
While others stayed in ṟouᴄW, others moved away. Terra was now a bustling world, full of opportunity. But even if there was distance, many remained united.
Kabu, it's so good to see you again. I was just about to write you, actually. Can't believe you managed to surprise me.
He hugs his friend as they share a moment of joy. They didn't know why, but they became great friends. As if something inside of them called to one another, and not like they were in prison together on another timeline. Yep. Perhaps remnants of their tragedy had stayed with them. Yeah, like I said. Kalen, not for so long. People are starting to stare. But it's good to see you too, my friend. The embrace was broken, and both wear large smiles.
So what brings you here, Kabu? Sir,
I'm sorry.
Surely it's business.
I'm sorry. I thought there'd be a line after that, so I was filling it in. Yeah, you're right. But it requires your input, actually. Claire wants to reevaluate some pricing.
Oh, well, I can help with that. I do the same thing with my boss.
I knew you'd never let me down. So this is a matter of produce. Citizens think we're overcharging. They walk down the street, staying close as they talk.
Oh, that's definitely a tough one. That kind of stuff is a necessity. It's easy to charge more for that. We dealt with that a while ago, too. But I think we settled at a nice price. At least the citizens seem to enjoy it. So much has changed, you know. Getting a new governor will do that. But he's been very popular with the people.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting. Your town elected a new leader. What did you say his name was again?
Riley.
That's not
It's Riley.
But I thought Riley was extra evil. I thought Riley was super extra evil, though.
Thought so, too.
I can't imagine that's okay. It seems in this new world, even enemies were friends. Souls that were lost had the chance to shine again. This changed the direction of many people's lives, including those that would otherwise cling to the past. Fidget!
Wait, I actually did it correctly? Trish always told me that was wrong. I'm really confused now, PB. I guess we did have our differences. It's just cleaning glass, though. If you damage them, we can buy more. She did most of the damaging, actually. I wonder what the king saw in her. I guess she made good drinks or something.
I guess she had good tits or something. Pretty sure.
Maybe we'll never know. Velasquez rules in mysterious ways. Just focus on the tavern, alright? Alright. So what do I do next? I mean, all of the glass is clean now. I swept the floors and wiped the windows. You've done way too much, Fidget. Just relax and take a breather. Don't want you burning yourself out.
Just then another visitor arrives at the tavern. They gently knock on the door and Fidget smiles.
Home a little earlier today? Don't worry, I'll get it, BB.
He runs to the door, leaving his brother behind. As he opens it, the smiling face of his mother awaits. He leaps into her arms and she softly kisses his cheek. It was an embrace that he never wanted to end. It seems that in this moment everything was fine. Not just for Fidget, but for the galaxy as a whole. Of course they end on Fidget getting Mommy back. Terra went on to live a long and prosperous life, and those who lived there were given happiness, the better future that they always deserved. Endymion and Righty went on to carry out their mission. They performed with honor and stopped a massive threat. Feeling guilty, however, Velasquez came clean. He told the Galactic Senate what they had planned. Instead of punishment, however, they were rewarded. The Galactic Senate wanted to hire their services. Of course! You were able to be sneaky and fuck some shit up? Yeah, we want some of that too. Together they founded a new branch of government. Agents, dedicated to covertly diffusing threats.
So, military.
Yeah. Well, like CIA kind of thing. They would forever be remembered as the founders, and Endymion and Righty became a vital part of history. After their passing, they were used as a measure. Everyone aimed to do as much good in the galaxy as them. Dusk and Sam continued to serve as Terra's ambassadors. Their time was devoted to enhancing quality of life. Terra's standing in the galactic community was high. Happiness and peace were commonplace in this world. Eventually, they were asked to serve the core worlds. Over time, they came to rule the Galactic Senate. I don't want her anywhere near a Senate seat. It was their job to rule over the annual deliberations. Henceforth, their ideas were never discarded again. Oh, they're the runners. They're not actually, okay. Plaire and Kabu continued to govern the town of РouᴉW. It became known for its peaceful and affordable life. But as time passed, old age took the life of Plaire. He seemed kind of old to begin with.
Yeah.
His son ran in the election and secured leadership. I want to see adult Kabu. But not in that ridiculous suit.
No.
Because I don't know what's going on with that badge. He maintained the town his father worked to create, but in the end, he was able to make it even better. РouᴉW became a home for the more upper-class citizens. A far cry from its more humble beginnings in poverty. You didn't become shitty about that, did you? Conrad was hired and began working at the tavern. He served out his days as a loyal denizen of РouᴉW. He lived a small, happy life of complete peace. He'd never experienced the danger of battle again. Even though I still see that handle of a knife right there. PB2 lived a quiet life of happiness. Running the tavern with Conrad, they made a fortune. As RouᴉW rose in ranks, so too did their revenue. Eventually, it became the most luxurious bar on the Terra. On the Terra. What? Trish served Velasquez for the rest of her days. Over time and with practice, she perfected her art. She was responsible for lots of tourism to the castle. Everybody wanted to taste her beautiful concoctions.
So that didn't really change.
Yeah. And to them, the castle gates remained open forever. Hi, Riley. Kaelin served with Riley for many years to come, but much like Plaire, old age got the better of him. And he didn't kill Kaelin this time. Running for office, Kaelin succeeded his boss. Him and his best friend had both become governors. They promptly united both of their towns as one. In the future, it would be known as New РouᴉW. Together they led their home to prosperity, and they were remembered for many years to come. Fidget remained adorable as shit. Fidget remained under the tutelage of his mother. She was considered one of the brightest minds on Terra. However, this time the Exodus project never happened. She was not claimed, and they lived together in joy. She was responsible for many technological advances, and as they got older she taught her son her ways. She did pass away, but Fidget was able to let go. He went on to continue her work and aid the galaxy. Velasquez remained really weird. It was a harsh truth that nobody could live forever. This even rang true for the immortal King Velasquez. He was remembered as Terra's greatest leader, taught in every school for generations to come. In that sense, maybe he was immortal. The annals of time never forget such men. Terra went on to experience an eternal peace. They lived forever in harmony with the galaxy. Oh wait, it's time for the concert. And guess who's not dead? Earth, however, would remain largely unchanged. It was introverted, concerned with its own matters. It would be a while before they entered the community, but life still changed, and all for the better. Because nobody fucking exploded. Jesus. With the sacrifice of Exodus, tragedies were averted. Exodus being David, in case anyone forgot. This left things free to proceed as they were meant to. Hype escalated as the launch of Clace's tour arrived, but due to these changes, there was only one winner. Absolutely not, I forbid it. I can't just let you go out alone. Remember what happened the last few times. But Singe, I really want to. I should be there to greet him personally. Especially after all the pop star he drank, fuck. You'll have plenty of time to greet him, but it will have to be later on. Rook and Jade will be picking him up. Clace is not wearing pants. And I'm sorry, but that's final. You know how the press can get, Clace. I don't want you in the spotlight just yet. Clace slumps down in his chair, sad at this news. In his mind, he should greet the contest winner. After all, this entire thing was his idea. Fine. But you should let them take the limo. At least do that for me, alright? Otherwise, it'll be boring for him. I don't think you heard me properly. We must avoid undue attention. We'll save it all for the tour launch. Please just let them take the limo. Imagine if you won such a huge contest. You'd be let down if you got anything else. You're the one who said this was great PR. Do you want to seem cheap to everybody? Then by all means, send a tiny car. Singe groans, resting his face in his hands. Fine, I'll give them the limo. But I'm not doing this happily. At least let the record show that. Yeah, but you don't do anything happily. So this is just typical Singe, right? An awkward silence ensues before they start laughing. But seriously, let's focus here. You should probably tell Inumi what's up. He loves hanging out in the limo, right? Yeah, I'll do it. They'll be so happy to go along. Who was the contest winner again? His name is Keela. But the actual Keela, who didn't die of cancer. Sadness. As many things changed, some new bonds were forged. Wounds of the past would never again be reopened. They worked with fervent effort as the tour approached. But even the most dedicated workers deserved some rest.
So, I guess this is it, huh? Our last day to relax and unwind. Tomorrow, the tour starts in force.
Yeah, you said it, Jade. I wish we had more time to relax. Things are going to get pretty busy. It won't be that bad in the end. Traveling the world is fun in Prospect. And we get to do it together. Aww. He smiles at Jade, and she smiles back.
Why did you pick this place? You had to know that I hate water.
Aren't you like a griffin or something? I don't know.
You're up to something, aren't you?
Uh-oh. No way, I'm offended. When would I have ulterior motives? I'm a man of pure heart and spirit. Bullshit.
With an impeccable sense of humor, too. Come on, Rook, spill the beans.
Rook walks to the railing and looks in the water. He waves Jade over as she joins him in observing.
Again, I hate water.
I can think of something that hates it more. Something that's no longer needed either.
He's gonna throw the tablet in. Oh yeah? What's that?
Rook smiles and walks to the opposite railing. With a running start, he throws his tablet in the water.
Called it.
It hits far away, and they can hear its impact loudly.
Rook, what did you do that for?
The whole fucking tour schedule was on there, you fuck! He turns around and embraces Jade with a smile. She's caught off guard and starts giggling. A blush appears on her face at the sudden advance. Because I have everything I need right here.
Aww.
They share a kiss, alone on the quiet dock. Their only witness, the slowly setting sun. It brings with it the end of a special day, and the beginning of something even more special. Aww. That was cute as fuck. Though history has changed, many things stayed the same. This rang true with the guitarist, Shock and Rocker. They were relaxing backstage while dusting off awards, and living with the hope that they might get more. So, are you ready for the big show? I've been practicing overtime now. Lots of critics to impress this time. Yeah, I suppose I'm ready. But I don't care about the critics. They take the fun out of everything. So this implies his dad still had to die because he wouldn't be part of this.
Yep.
I play because it's my passion, Shock. I don't do it to get evaluated. To me, the music brings happiness. Are you calling me vain or something? I play to impress the entire world. Not everybody's as talented as we are. He's still a dick. Of course not. You're not vain. Some people like that kind of validation. I just like staying in the shadows. And I'm grateful to have this chance. He cracks open a pop star and starts chugging. He swallows it and lets out a refreshing sigh. Oh, I'm sorry. Would you like one? No thanks. I quit a while back now. I started having heart palpitations.
And your doctor said no.
While some remained in the shadows, others found light. But it was under much better circumstances than before. With a chance to debut her skills, Daz practiced hard.
Yes, Anumi, I get to sing for everyone. I wrote a song and I'll do my best. But I'm not the greatest piano player.
That's so cool. I'm proud of you. You know, people call my brother stubborn. But he fights for things that help others.
Blip.
Just like he did to help me.
Daz smiles, knowing the story of Anumi's adoption. She practices her dance moves while he watches in awe.
Wow, Daz, you're really good at that.
You're really good at your boobs not flying out of your coat.
Not even Clace could pull that move off. Don't forget me when you're a celebrity.
She laughs, but she's secretly hopeful. Deep inside, she hopes to impress at the concert. Her piece is somber, showing off her potential, composed from memories deep inside of her heart.
I don't think I'll ever forget you, Anumi. Something tells me you're here to stay. But I need to practice now, is that okay?
Of course, don't even worry about it. I have to go take a trip anyway. I'm picking up the contest winner.
Wow, that's pretty exciting stuff. Would you tell them I said hello?
Sure, but under one condition.
You name it.
I want you to teach me how to dance. One day, I'll take over for my brother. I want to be just as famous as you two.
He's so adorable.
Blip.
Blip. So is David just fucking dead? Oh, that's right, because David's an amalgamation. He's not one person.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. The future of many were headed in uncertain directions. However, some were left to embrace their destiny. Arriving in Tokyo, they wanted to protect everyone. But they knew not what grand fate awaited them. Fukimoto here, live from Tokyo. Breaking news, folks, a new visitor. The CEO of Armstrong Incorporated. I thank you so much for giving us your time. The viewers will have lots of questions.
Ashron.
Especially about the nature of your visit.
Ha!
Unfortunately, it's a secret. You understand what my business is like, but nobody should fear for their safety. Words of wisdom if I've ever heard them. Tell us, Acheron, about your situation. You were thrust into leadership so fast. Do you have anything to say about that? The viewers wonder about your inheritance. That and the disappearance of your family. So the bombing still happened. He pushes the microphone towards Acheron's face. Acheron pulls back, clearly feeling violated. No comment, I'm afraid. There's far too much speculation. I'm just focusing on performing admirably. As mysterious as ever, I see. Very well, I certainly trust you. Armstrong has done so much good. America is much safer in your hands, and soon maybe Japan will be too. We'll await a more formal announcement. Astron nods and smiles, happy that he backed off. He wasn't about to reveal the reason he was in Tokyo. It was something he'd announce at a later date. However, he knew Japan would love what he had to say. Okay, great, what? The debut of the World Tour came closer and closer, and on the best of his life, Keela arrived. But this time, he was more than a new man. Winning this contest gave him a large sense of hope. Are you sure you don't need any help? Please tell me, it's no trouble at all. I'd hate for you to hurt yourself, Keela. Oh no, please don't worry, they can use the same picture because they were twins. I've been through much worse, trust me. This is the best I've felt in years. Also, he was still in treatment, but it actually went into remission instead of dying. He coughs, placing a hand over his mouth. He carries with him a device that assists his breathing. Had things been the other way, Keela would have been bedridden. But winning this contest meant the world to him. You really should have brought a guardian. Didn't you say you had a twin brother? I'm really worried for your safety, Keela. Please don't coddle me, Rook. And yeah, I do have a brother. He was even prepared to come for me. I know I'm really sick, but it's okay. I'll make sure not to cause any trouble. This will be the best year of my whole life. Oh, they get to go along for the whole tour. They get to be roadies.
Yep.
Rook smiles as he leads Keela to the exit. Be he had an ever-watchful eye on his sickly friend.
I think it's supposed to be butt.
Yeah, I think that's an autocorrect thing that happened. He'd guarantee both his safety and his fun. Deep down inside, this feels familiar to him. Well then, are you ready for some fun? Clace even fought to get you a limo. We'll be going on tour in style, Keela. Wow, that's fantastic. He really did that for me? I can't wait to thank him in person. He coughed some more at his overexcitement, but he knew he wouldn't be sick for much longer. Not with all of this hope, not with all of this support. It would play a vital role in his speedy recovery. And with cancer, your willingness to fight really does have an effect on it.
Yes, it does.
Because it affects your body's willingness to fight infection and whatnot. With everything lined up, it was finally time. Clay stood backstage, trembling in fear. Daz joined him, scared of her big debut. Shock and Rock, however, enjoyed the shadows.
What if they don't like me? I put my heart and soul into this song. I'd be crushed if they didn't applaud.
Oh man, I feel the same way. I had some nightmares last night, too. After the song, they were just silent.
That's horrible.
Just play up the crowd, Daz. Tell them how good they are. Say you love all of them.
Do I say Tokyo is the best city ever?
Only if you want to be cliché. But I guess we're no stranger to those. It's old-fashioned, but it works. You're singing a slower song, right? Ask them to take out their lighters. It's great to unite the audience.
Yeah, it's a slower song. I hope I don't ruin your energy.
I wouldn't worry about it, Daz. I'm retiring after this tour anyway. This is your chance to prove yourself.
Retiring?
Oh, you must be hearing things. I didn't say anything of the sort. Anyway, I think they'll call us out soon.
I'm so nervous.
Clace places his hand on Daz's shoulders. He recalls when he was in her exact situation, but in the end everything worked out. They'd laugh at this anxiety when it was over. Listen, Daz, everything will be fine. I've heard your voice, it's beautiful. Now let's go sing our hearts out. Still not wearing pants. When their names were called, they ran out on stage. The crowd was pumped, applauding almost immediately. They went on to give a performance for the ages. For once, everything was perfect in their lives. They'd never know the true cost of that perfection. That some shit exploded really bad? Hi, Clace. The World Tour went on to launch with a big bang. It was talked about for years to come, breaking records. Yep, that's someone else singing.
Yep.
But true to his word, Clace retired when it was over. However, he still remained in the industry he loved. He continued to tour with Daz as she performed, all while teaching his brother Inumi how to sing. With Daz's dancing lessons, he was sure to succeed. Singe continued to be a dick. Singe went on to manage idols for the rest of his days. After Clace, it was Daz, and it never ended. He was devoted to the business well into his old age. However, one day, that old age got the better of him. He left behind a legacy in the entertainment industry. He'd never be directly remembered for any of it. To the world, he was the man behind the curtain. But he loved the peace, and it was fine with that. Shock and Rocker wouldn't always remain in the back. When Clace retired, they started their own careers. Their popularity would even surpass some pop idols. And until they retired, they always topped the charts. Daz lived up to the bargain, teaching Inumi to dance. When Clace retired, Inumi was already well trained. It only seemed natural that he'd follow his brother. Becoming a pop idol, he also toured the world. After Singe's passing, he needed to make a change. He set his eyes on managing and took Singe's place. How else could he repay the man he saw as a father? He maintained the legacy he worked so hard to create. Fukumoto quickly gained popularity for his unique style. Eventually he was offered a job with a huge network. Moving to America, he pursued his biggest dream, and he never again resorted to tabloid journalism. Oh, that stays the same no matter what.
Yep.
Astron was in Tokyo to test a new product. It was a way to subdue without any chance of harm. Armstrong Incorporated became enforcers of peace, and they would never again use death as a tool.
Yay.
He was applauded for the peace he gave Earth, but as most do, he set his sights even higher. One night, fate took him in a drastically new direction, and from that day on, he was never seen again. Oh, that's right, because he had to come along to run the Ark.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, why would the Ark matter? The Ark wouldn't be necessary anymore. Didn't he, oversee the shifting? Whatever. Rook and Jade's love blossomed as they toured the world. Each new stop brought several romantic hotspots. They served Singe loyally until his fateful passing. After that, they wed into a life of peace. Aww. After Clace retired, Daz took the spotlight. She was the idol to beat, gaining a massive following. World tour after world tour, she kept the momentum. Platinum records and a lifetime of glory awaited her. But she knew that this was mostly thanks to Clace. His decision to step down actually raised her up. She'd be forever thankful for what he had done, and remain friends for the rest of their lives. Keela didn't die of cancer. Keela's hope was renewed, and he was as happy as ever. After the tour ended, he remained friends with everyone. He beat his illness, and lived a long and happy life. Him and his brother Eddie were henceforth inseparable.
Aww.
They founded several charity organizations together. No one would have to suffer like Keela did. At least, that was their end goal in life, and over time they helped find many cures. Earth would remain isolated for a long time to come. They didn't have the technology to join the galaxy. But this never stopped them from living happily. And for the rest of its existence, Earth was peaceful. Bullshit!
Nice thought, though.
Nice thought, but no. Not ever happening. Not on this planet. Not on this planet that likes blowing shit up. I don't know how I saw all of this, to be honest. As far as I knew, I was supposed to be dead. But I smiled as I saw the future I left behind. Maybe he took over the Ark. It seemed that in the end, everyone was happy. Oh.
Yep.
Okay. So, this is the credits. We read the credits last go-around.
Yep.
We will pick back up with you in a little bit if there is any post-credit stuff like there was last time where old boy messed with Max. But if not, thank you for joining us on this lovely, lovely time. And we'll see you in whatever next game my wife and I decide to play.
So until then, everybody, see ya!
Bye! That's assuming there's nothing after this.
Mm-hmm. In which then we just, repeat. Can't you fast forward?
I have no way to fast forward the credits. A lot of games do this, where they force you to... That's adorable that Keela is...
Actually, Eddie.
Yeah. Refer to him as a brother. Hi, Ganon. Ganon.
My Ganon Cannon.
Starburst is in your chair, sir. What are you gonna do about it?
She has been all night.
So he ain't gonna do shit about it.
Because he knows which side his bread is buttered on.
What?
Side is bread is buttered on. Indeed.
You, sir, need to stop biting my teacher arm.
He likes to bite my elbow because I can say it like this. So he just bites whatever's available.
Bites the back of my arm.
He likes to bite John's ankles. He bites Dawson's calf. Watch me get a copyright thing. If it was made for the game, it's possible I won't. Because things that are part of game soundtracks don't really trip it.
Yeah.
Come on. I'm gonna be editing for a solid minute. Although it's mostly cut. Alright, anything after? What do we got? Come on. What do you got? What do you got for me? Oh, looks like there is a little bit extra. So that wasn't goodbye just yet. It looks like we're on the bridge of the ship that we fought on.
Yeah, the terminus.
Is that the name?
Yep.
I tremble. My entire body is overwhelmed with sensation. I have no idea what just happened, or where I am. I pant heavily and take in my surroundings. Oh, he's actually David now. He's no longer the collective. Because what they told him is when they released it, whatever the strongest soul was would hang around. It's the terminus, but wasn't it on a crash course? Hey there, David. I'm glad to see you awake. When you blacked out, I feared the worst. Rayo stands before me and offers me his hand. I take it without hesitation, and he helps me stand. I look out the window of the bridge, astonished. There are billions of stars shining together. Look at all of those worlds, David. It was you who gave them life again, connected, to live in harmony forever. He smiles as we walk towards the window. I press my hand against it, looking at what I did. I changed reality, united the entire galaxy, but for some reason I saw the future of everything. Yes, I expected as much. Your sight has been twisted, no longer limited to 2 worlds. You can view the entire galaxy, both its current and future state. Just think of what we're capable of. Maybe we should go and get everybody. It might be good to have some company. And honestly, I grew fond of them all. I'm not sure how to respond to that. I mean, we did go through a lot together, but the future I witnessed was so happy. If I changed things up, it could cause tragedy. Besides, I'm not even sure if they would remember me. So much has changed, I wasn't on any of their minds. If we went to recruit them, they'd call us insane. Rather than acknowledging my fear, he gives me a gift. The 2 blades merged into one. But it looks different, don't you think? Like its source of power has changed. It's the sword I held earlier, but purified. Instead of black and red, it was colored differently. Now it wears an ornate white and a beautiful gold. I feel like it could be a source of good in the galaxy. If you could learn to fucking swing it right. We have lots of exploring to do, and we can continue changing history. But it would be nice to do it with friends. So tell me, what should we do? Should we get the group back together, or should we leave things as they are? I think long and hard before I answer, Rayo. It seems I held the future of everyone in my hands, and it was time for me to decide what happened next. What? 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 I wasn't prepared for this.
I'd rather not change it. Let them live happily.
Yeah, you'd fuck some shit up to tell them what the fuck happened.
So don't let... Yeah,
I'd rather not change what I saw.
Yep.
It was nice and happy. Let it go.
Yep.
Well then, I trust your judgment. But David, we have lots to talk about. Luckily, I know where we can waste time. Soon I feel an all too familiar sensation. I embrace it, filled with the joy that I survived, and filled with wonder at this galaxy's potential. Hello? Okay, that was kind of cool. That was kind of cool. I'm assuming they're going to the tavern.
Or just to the Ark.
Oh, yeah, that's what the tick would be.
Yeah.
Oh, a great place to waste time.
Uh-huh.
I get it. Alright. So that's the actual end, people. So...
Well, that was fun.
Yep, we already said it once, but we'll say it again because you didn't hear it the first time. Thank you for joining us on this wonderful little journey into hell and back. And it was fun doing this because I just did this all at once.
Yes, it's been a very long night.
I have a lot of editing ahead of me. Holy shit. Anyway, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in the next game my wife and I play together. So until then, bye!
Bye, everyone!
Bye!